YouTube, what's up? Welcome back to another video. Right now, we'll be reacting to a video titled, or the title goes by, "A War Between Yonkos Just Begun." Um, for those who don't know, I mean, I watch anime, but I know that this is One Piece. I watched One Piece like way back in the day. Like I didn't catch up to the anime. I know what happens. I mean, it's pretty impossible for you to not know what happens. But I don't watch the anime. I don't keep up with what happens. But I was intrigued by the title. So yeah, if you guys are interested on me reacting to One Piece, comment down below. But as of now, let's react to this video.
Red-haired pirates have just declared war against the Straw Hat Pirates. You may not have realized
What?
it, but that was the entire narrative purpose of this
I hope this doesn't have like heavy spoilers. Like I said, I don't watch the anime, but I know pretty much what. Actually, you know what? Let me just. Yeah.
scene, the punishment of Bartolomeo. It was to set up the Straw Hats and red-haired pirates for their inevitable conflict in Elbaf. Because while this could easily be overlooked as a minor incident, the reality is that the red-haired pirates have just committed the one cardinal sin that is unforgivable to Luffy and the Straw Hat crew. You do
What
not
is that?
touch the Straw Hat's friends. Just as Shanks himself once taught
Just
Luffy
like-
that this is the one thing you can never allow, so too has Luffy adopted this creed for himself. As arc after arc, he has brought retribution against the strongest individuals on the ocean for harming his friends. And of course, while Luffy and Shanks themselves have strong personal bonds between each other, and by no means does this mean that Luffy will suddenly hate Shanks, that does not change the fact that this action is one that will prompt retribution from Luffy, as a lesson needs to be taught in return. We already know that Luffy will deal justice in this manner, even to those who he is close with. And more importantly, at this point in the story, Luffy is no longer playing at pirates like it's some harmless little kid's game. Luffy is a Yonko. Shanks is a Yonko. For the very same reasons that the red-haired pirates had to bring
For those who are maybe curious, you might not be, but for those who are, I've made it all the way to, in terms of anime, I've made it all the way to Water 7. Like, as of right now, we're in Water 7. So everything that happens afterwards, as I said, I know here and there, obviously TikTok and whatnot, it's pretty much dang impossible for you not to know what happens. But as in watching the anime, I've made it all the way up to Water 7, and that's it. I didn't continue. So all of this is new to me. So yeah.
retribution for the tarnishing of their flag in order to maintain protection of their own subordinate fleets, so too is it now Luffy's responsibility to bring retribution for the assault on his subordinate fleets. This is the world of the Yonko. This is what it means to have territories. This is what it means to claim people under your flag and offer them your protection. This is what it means to have subordinates. So let me break down exactly why this incident is going to spark a genuine war between Yonko crews, and exactly how that war is set to play out, in a manner that won't ruin Luffy and Shanks' relationship, but will still make for a serious, high-stakes, genuine conflict. But before we get into it, make sure to subscribe. And if you want a smoother way to shave your body, you can get 20% off Manscaped's body grooming kit today. Manscaped is the sponsor for this video, and they just specifically designed to feel smooth on the skin, acting yourself well on, so that he intends to go up against every single Yonko, and Shanks is very explicitly stated to be part of that plan. Shanks himself decided, after Luffy reached Yonko level, that it's now time to compete with Luffy for the One Piece. The conflict was always going to happen. The problem was that narratively setting up this conflict was a very delicate matter, as it had to strike a very specific tone. On the one hand, Luffy vs. Shanks can't be a genuine antagonistic conflict of mortal enemies, the way Luffy vs. Kaido, Luffy vs. Big Mom, or Luffy vs. Blackbeard can be written, since at the end of the day, the actual bond between Luffy and Shanks is integral to the story and it needs to be preserved. Shanks is Luffy's savior, his mentor, and his protector throughout the story. Shanks literally gave up his arm for Luffy's sake. Not to mention, much of Luffy's journey has been about returning his hat to Shanks, so this bond needs to remain intact. The hat needs to be returned, the dynamic needs to be maintained. So on the one
100%.
hand, whatever conflict
The
Luffy and
promise
Shanks
needs
have,
to be
it could
kept.
never have been some hate-filled bloodbath battle to the death like the Wano War. It always needed to ultimately be something a lot lighter, something that wouldn't shatter their relationship. But at the same time, Oda couldn't go
Joy
too
boy.
far in the other direction, and make it too light because stakes are important for conflicts. There needs to feel like there is some level of seriousness for a battle between two Yonko.
Hey, this
It
thing
can't
looks
just be
fire,
a,
though.
haha, I'm so happy to see you, Shanks, let's have a daily backfight to see who's better now. We are simply too far into the story with too much emphasis placed on the geopolitical conflict of One Piece, and the seriousness with which every major figure treats it, for a conflict between two emperors to be a friendly little contest. There needs to be some added bite to the whole affair. And so the simple solution, perhaps the very solution that was foreshadowed from the creation of the Grand Fleet, was the Bartolomeo incident. It's the perfect catalyst for a Luffy-Shanks conflict, in that it
Quick question. What is your input on Luffy becoming a Yonko? Obviously, haven't made it that far, so I can't really comment on it. But obviously, you guys should know more. Like, obviously, became stronger, obviously. But for the people that did or are caught up, does he or did he earn that Yonko name? Like, did he make it? Like, is his strength equal of a Yonko level? Like, that's what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, comment down below.
evokes the most important value that both Luffy and Shanks care about, protecting their friends and subordinates. This is a value that they're both morally correct to care about, and as such, this conflict doesn't actually make either party the quote-unquote bad guy, but rather it simply forces both parties to face off as a matter of having to carry out their moral duties. It's not personal, it's not
I keep
hatred
seeing,
between the
like,
crews, but it
some
is
characters,
serious business that must be done. I'm going to break
they
down
have,
why
like,
this is from
their
first the
hands are
perspective of
black
being
or,
a
like,
Yonko, and second from the perspective of Luffy and Shanks'
what's up with that?
personal shared moral code. So to begin with, being a Yonko is
Is it a
fundamentally
technique?
different from being a regular pirate in that there is now the official responsibility of protecting territories. One's flag now carries weight behind it, the weight of protection and affiliation. We have seen that this flag has to be treated extremely seriously. A Yonko has to protect all of their territories and all of their subordinates that fly their flag, so the flag continues to hold meaning for everyone else that they're protecting. An assault on the
Yup.
flag that goes unpunished essentially threatens the safety of everyone else who relies on that flag for protection. And so Bartolomeo did something
can
extremely
respect
stupid.
that.
While he was likely simply being overzealous and wanted to promote Luffy in favor of Shanks, burning the flag was an act that directly threatens the safety of everyone that Shanks protects. And we've seen what Shanks does to those that threaten the safety of his friends. And so Bartolomeo acts
I
without
saw that
thinking.
panel.
This threatens Shanks' subordinates, which means that as a Yonko, Shanks now has to retaliate against Bartolomeo, which is an act of violence against Luffy's subordinates,
Towards
which
Luffy,
means
yup.
that as a Yonko, Luffy must now also retaliate against Shanks. It's very
Yo,
simple, this is
this
the way
is-
the world of the Yonko works. It was all technically Bartolomeo's fault in the first place, but it's resulted in a situation where the red-haired pirate's hand was forced, they had to harm
100%.
Luffy's subordinate, and now that means that if Luffy is a true Yonko, he now needs to step up and get retribution for said subordinate.
Hey,
Remember, what the
yo.
red-haired pirates just did to Bartolomeo is exactly the same as what Kid almost did to Shanks' subordinates. This is the exact same parallel situation. For the exact same reason that Shanks had to attack Kid for what he did, so too does Luffy now have to attack Shanks for what
I
he
know
did.
Shanks
In fact,
attacked
Oda likely established this
but
absolutely
why?
identical
I
parallel
don't
scenario
know.
specifically to make this setup extremely cut and dry,
And I
black
don't
and white.
want to know
This is the
further.
natural, necessary response from a Yonko for committing this act against subordinate.
Not
He
yet.
expected Shanks to act in this manner against Kid, therefore Luffy should now be expected to act in this manner against Shanks. Now you may argue that Luffy doesn't exactly think like a traditional Yonko, and that's true. Luffy is more focused on finding the One Piece than being some kind of a big shot. However, Luffy has very clearly recognized
Hey.
that he's now entered a position where his title
You gotta
does
do what
have
you gotta
meaning,
do, bro.
and his
Follow your
protection
heart.
does have meaning. Luffy has been acting as a Yonko. He has been claiming territories, he has been telling his allies to fly his flag as a symbol of his
Okay.
protection over them. If something happens to
Okay,
Wano or Fishman
Luffy
Island,
dog,
Luffy
I
knows that he needs to
see
come
you.
running to help. And the same goes for Luffy's subordinate
respect,
fleets. Now you might argue that Luffy technically never accepted the Grand Fleet as his subordinates. It was technically a gray area
is
wherein the
such a
Grand
Luffy
Fleet just
thing to do.
established themselves as his subordinates, but they did drink the father and son's cups, and the Strahds themselves technically also drank the same cups, even if it was without Luffy's consent. So while it's a gray area, you
Oh.
could argue that shooting down Bartolomeo is not quite the same act of war in the same way that Kid shooting down Shanks' subordinates was.
Yeah.
However, that brings us to the second main point, which is beyond the technical responsibilities of a Yonko. What matters more is Luffy's own personal moral code. Even before Luffy was a Yonko, there was a code that he lived by, the very same code that Shanks taught him. No one is allowed to hurt Luffy's friends. Ever.
Yup.
And Luffy most certainly considers Bartolomeo a friend. It's not just about their experiences together in Dressrosa. Oda made sure that Bartolomeo's relationship with Luffy was embellished beyond the rest of the Grand Fleet, as Bartolomeo and his crew were the ones who actually sailed Luffy and the rest of the Straw Hats all the way from Dressrosa to Zou. They actually did this without even having a navigator. This additional trip is a huge deal, as it was a huge favor from the Barto Club pirates to Luffy and the crew. The Straw Hats were essentially stranded and helpless without Bartolomeo, and the simple fact that they had this extended journey together was likely a significant decision by Oda to make sure that Luffy does not forget Bartolomeo and Bartolomeo's kindness in particular. Luffy is also obviously very aware that Bartolomeo is very loyal to him and that Bartolomeo considers himself to be Luffy's subordinate. And Luffy has also made clear that he does view the Grand Fleet members as his allies and that they can mutually rely on each other in the future. So for Shanks and the red-haired pirates to do this to Bartolomeo, very possibly killing Bartolomeo and his entire crew, this is an extreme act of violence towards one of Luffy's friends. And you have to remember that Luffy has flown into a rage even against his own first mate for actions like this, for the sake of people Luffy was nowhere near as close to as Bartolomeo. What Shanks and the red-haired pirates just did to Bartolomeo, without question, will demand some sort of retribution from Luffy. Obviously, Luffy's not going to try and kill Shanks, especially whenever it's revealed that Bartolomeo is in fact alive, but the point is that this type of action will undoubtedly piss Luffy off and make him feel like some sort of payback is due.
One question. Excuse me. For everyone that's caught up with the manga, the anime, whatever, right? If Luffy actually, which I don't believe that he would actually do this, but what if, hypothetically speak, right? If Luffy says, you know what, fuck it, let's go, let's run the block, let's go and attack Shanks, let's declare war on Shanks. What are their chances, or what is the chances of the Straw Hats winning against, the red hair pirates? They're like they're I can't speak English. Is that what they call them, like the crew, the red hair pirates? I don't remember. But you guys know what I'm saying. Like, would they actually win against them? Because from what I know, not a chance. Like, no way. Not even in their dreams. But obviously, I'm assuming they became stronger. They've learned the new tricks, here and there. I don't know. So, yeah, comment down below. Straw Hats, Red Hair Pirates, who would win? Comment section.
But before we get into it, if you love the world of One Piece, or you just want the opportunity to screen with me to share your One Piece ideas in front of thousands of viewers, I am excited to announce the Great Pirate Race. The renowned artist Dredge is bringing the entire world of One Piece to life, island by island, as travel posters for your walls. And Dredge is releasing these exclusively through the Morge channel. Each month, new batches of One Piece islands will be released to build the complete set. And this month, you can get Egghead Island, Whole Cake Island, and Wano to begin your collection. And Dredge is only making the Egghead, Whole Cake, and Wano posters this month, and then never again. So next month will be a new batch of islands as the collection continues. But the best part is, the posters themselves are tickets. If you have a lot of ideas about the series that you've been dying to talk about to a broader audience, then with your bundle of One Piece travel posters, you get an invite to join me on stream to talk about any One Piece theories or analytical insights that you have, or you can debate me live on any One Piece topic that you're itching to argue about in front of thousands of viewers. On top of that, you can also join me in a smaller private group setting in a happy hour that I'll be hosting this month for all viewers with travel posters. Plus, if you get the travel posters, you get a 20% discount on all other items in the Morge store, meaning our entire clothing line, all previous art pieces, and puzzles. You'll even get a high-quality bookmark of Luffy's iconic Bajirang gun attack, hand-drawn by Dredge, thrown in for free. And lastly, I told you this was the Great Pirate Race, right? Well, there's one final prize that one of you can get. Each month's bundle of posters comes with a code on the back to be solved. If you can put it together and follow the clues, the first person to solve the whole thing will get one final additional exclusive gift that no one else will get. And of course, you'll be announced and featured as the winner of that
would be
month's
something
Great
I
Prize
would do, to
race
be
in
honest.
one of my
Unfortunately,
videos. So while Dredge's
like
art
3
pieces would
weeks.
ordinarily be $300 total, through the Morge channel you can get all 3 together, plus you get to live stream with me, an invite to a private happy hour, 20% off the
yo.
entire Morge store, a Bajarangan manga bookmark, and a signed thank you from me. And of course, the opportunity to win the Great Pirate Race itself, all bundled together for just $250. And again, these 3 posters are genuinely only going to be printed and produced for this month of September and this month only. So hit the link in the description below to get your bundle. Grab this collection before it's gone.
Man.
And most importantly, in this manner,
I would 100% participate if I had the chance. I'm like, what? This video has been up for 3 weeks now? Man, I literally just missed it. But hey, I guess it wasn't meant to be.
the cause of the conflict would simply be perfect thematic writing. The entire lesson of Chapter 1 of One Piece, the entire point of what Shanks taught Luffy in this opening scene of the story, is that while you should never get into pointless fights, and while you should avoid violence at all costs, the one simple thing that you cannot let slide is when someone hurts your friends. That is the
Yup.
time that a man must act, and therein lies the
100%.
beauty of this whole setup. The only reason Luffy will realize that he has to step up and teach the red-haired pirates a lesson is precisely because of the very lesson that they once taught him. You can't allow anyone to harm your friends. It is absolutely
I just thought about something. What if, hear me out, what if Shanks decided to use this situation on purpose to see what Luffy would do? Nah, that would be fire. That would be fire. Nah. It would be something like, I just taught this lesson to Luffy back when he was a youngin. So let me see now, what would he like? What is he going to do? You know, like what is his next move going to be? Basically, nah. And then what if, like, he's going like the news is going to be spread out all over the One Piece universe, whatever. Shanks attacked whatever that guy was. I don't know his name. And then turns out that he was actually alive, and Luffy's going to think like, oh, what? Like Shanks attacked my colleague, friend, whatever, and he's dead. I have to go and avenge him, whatever. And then he finds out like, oh, he was actually okay the whole time. But Shanks was like, hey, I was testing you. Respect. I like it, right? What you call it? Like I appreciate what you did, and I respect that you came for your friend, and that's what I was trying to teach you, and like, you, you know what I'm saying? Nah. Hey, yo, Oda, if you're watching this for whatever reason, hey, let me stop.
brilliant full circle writing that goes back to the very origin of the messaging of Luffy and Shanks' relationship. And once you realize that from the very beginning, Oda always planned for Luffy and Shanks' eventual conflict to be instigated by Luffy following through on the very lesson that Shanks originally taught him, suddenly so many other things become clear. Literally the
That's what
entire
I just
purpose
said.
of Oda creating this character Bartolomeo was to cause this very incident. Oda needed a character that would do something so stupid out of loyalty to Luffy that it would lead to retribution from the red-haired pirates, thereby causing a conflict between Luffy and the red-haired pirates in turn. And so Oda crafted the ultimate Luffy fanboy, someone who is so absurdly, delusionally devoted to Luffy that he often acts out of blind loyalty to Luffy rather than thinking rationally. Because it's not like Shanks and the red-haired pirates would ever go out of their way to hurt one of Luffy's allies or friends without reason. The whole point is Shanks never does anything violent unless one of his own friends is in danger of being hurt. So Oda needed to give Luffy a subordinate who would do something stupid that would unintentionally put Shanks' subordinates and allies in danger, which would thereby force Shanks to act in violence. Therefore, Oda invented Bartolomeo, someone who wouldn't necessarily go out of his way to hurt any of Shanks' subordinates, but would be dumb enough to burn a flag. which by extension puts Shanks' allies in danger because Bartolomeo isn't thinking of the consequences.
Me and Oda are the same. I don't care what you guys say. Nah, no way. There's no way that I just thought the same. Nah, okay, nah. Listen, listen. Nah. I promise you on everything. Holy, this is my first time reacting to this video. I did not watch this video like beforehand, and it just came to me. You know, that idea just came to me. Like, there's no way. And then this guy says like, oh, maybe Oda did. I'm assuming if he said this, then Oda probably did intend to do this on purpose. But for me to think the same way, nah. Hey, listen. I'm just joking.
That's why Oda also made sure that Luffy and Bartolomeo spent plenty of time together, establishing them as friends and allies, technically even boss and subordinate, and then had Bartolomeo do something so stupid that it forces Shanks' hand, which now in turn forces Luffy's hand, and voila. Just like that, the perfect Luffy and Shanks conflict has been created. It's not one born out of hate or genuine animosity, but both of them have to perform their duty as Yonko. And more importantly, they
I
both want
surprised
to
myself.
uphold their own moral code, which is to never let anyone, no matter who it is, hurt one of
Hurt
their
their
friends.
friends.
Again,
Yep.
the two parties may likely land on a Davy backfight as the method to settle this dispute, but it will be a Davy backfight with a much higher level of stakes to it. It won't just be for road poneglyphs, as Luffy's genuine intent will be to teach the red-haired pirates a lesson, and establish that no one,
Nah,
not
Luffy
even
teaching the
Shanks,
red-haired
is
pirates a
allowed to
lesson
hurt
is
his
crazy.
friends, thereby proving to Shanks that Luffy really is as special as he always believed. Because in the process, Luffy will be demonstrating that he took Shanks' final lesson from childhood to heart, and grew up to be exactly the type of man that Shanks always hoped. So let me know how you think their war will play out in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, then definitely like and subscribe. And you can support me on Patreon for my extended thoughts on this and all future
Support.
topics on my weekly podcast. Link in the description below. And make sure to get your bundle of travel posters for this month of Egghead, Whole Cake, and Wano before they're gone. And to get all of your additional perks listed here. Link in the description below.
Bruh. I don't know. I just feel so happy that the fact that I just was able to come up with that idea, you know? Like, I I literally don't know what to say. I'm surprised myself. But like I said, yeah. Comment down below, guys, what you think for those who are caught up. Who would win? Crew versus crew, you know? Straw Hats versus Red Hair Pirates. Who would win? I'm betting all of my money on the Red Hair Pirates because there is no way. There is no way. I don't care how powerful Luffy got over the years and what nah, no, there's no way. I just can't. I just can't accept the fact that Luffy, like maybe at the very end, okay, but like I'm assuming there's still like there's a lot to be achieved in the One Piece universe and for the Straw Hats. So as of now, I don't think so. But that's just my opinion. Comment down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.